Let's just go right to questions.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
Obviously, you guys rotated David and Brendan on Saturday. Just after watching the film, just kind of your thoughts on what you saw from those guys, what you liked, what you didn't like, and kind of where you go going forward with this position.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you could take the first quarter and bottle it up with both of them, I think they both did some really, really good things there and played at a high level in the first quarter, and then, and maybe quarter and a half, but then the second half, we can't turn the ball over a quarterback. We can't do that. So it wasn't good enough in the second half. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Kind of pretty simple.
Seth and Mason?
Maybe individually, just like from each Taven and Brendan, could you kind of just take us through what you've seen just from since you started working with them more directly? Maybe just some of the strengths and weaknesses for each of them as a player.
Well, I think it was pretty obvious in the first part of the game. We're just talking about last game now. It was pretty obvious in the first quarter and a half of last game that when they are, doing exactly, in the system and doing those things, like they're performing at a high level. They both are, okay? And then when they go outside of that a little bit, and I'm not talking out of school here because, I've talked to them already about it. When they go a little bit away from that, then it's not good. So I've seen the highs, Sorsby obviously had a lot of highs in that game, and he had some lows, and Taven, the same thing. I mean, I think the highs are pretty good, and the lows, would be the turnovers for both of them on that thing. So I don't see much, difference in that ebb and flow, which that's the problem, right? That's the issue, is that we're getting this, and so it's my job to get rid of this, and for the first quarter and a half, we weren't doing that, so I got to get that corrected with them.
Mason and Jack?
You kind of alluded to it partially being about turnovers, but was there anything that also just kind of wasn't going right in the second half as opposed to that first quarter and a half?
Oh, I mean, yeah, there were a lot of things that were going right in that second half, right? I really think as you go back and you look at the game, I mean, obviously, the first pick when we were down in the red zone cost us at least 3 points. And then that hands of the face call when, we had the ball across the 50 at the end of the second half, gave them, again, the ball with a lot of time left, second quarter to go score. But then coming out in the second half, there were just some things that we had done correct in the first half that we weren't doing correct in the second. And again, you're gonna get some of that, guys, with young quarterbacks, but some, we can't have a half of it. And then I've told them about it, because when they're doing what they were doing, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's just when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then we get into that a little bit. So, and that's, I'm not putting that on them, I'm putting that on me. I got to get that corrected. Get those lows a little higher and keep those highs high.
Jack, Daniel?
Yeah, you said just like they're playing well within the system, I guess, but sometimes going away from that. Like, what do you feel causes them maybe to stray away from like some of the things you want them to do, and kind of what can you do?
Yeah, well, like I alluded to, some of that is youth, right? Youth maybe trying to get a little bit, maybe, feeling a little bit of the pressure because there was some there, and we knew that was going to be battle, and I thought our O-line played, pretty well in the game overall. Now, 10,000 foot view, there are a lot of things we got to correct in there, but then certainly what I have to do with my part in there is I have to, and we did this last week, we're going to do more this week, is that we're just going to do the same things over and over and over again, and just limit what those same things are. Not this many same things, this many same things. And we did that last week, had some success with it, and then didn't have success. So what that tells me is you shrink it down a little more.
Daniel and Ken?
When you start with that script and then you adjust beyond that, what does that process look like for you?
What script?
Like I guess like the script you're entering with as far as plays.
I don't have a
script. You don't have a script? Okay. What did you see, I guess, that
the only thing you can script in football is the first two plays.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I mean? Because those are the only two guaranteed first and second. Because, you get in third down, now you're in situational football.
Gotcha. Okay. So with Henderson returning to practice this week, what do you feel like he'll provide for you?
Oh, a lot. I mean, Josh is a good football player and he's played a lot of football around here. And I think his protection, his running, his ability to catch the ball, you know, I'm excited to get him back now. I think he's going to be, well, listen to the trainers on this and do, but I mean, he's going to get out there and start doing some stuff. When do we get him to practice, right? Because everyone always thinks so, just play, but really, you know, football's a game of practice. You got to get them practicing when they come back from that. Like EJ, you know, EJ came back in practice last week, and he's a lot farther along now to playing than he was last week.
Ken and Pete?
You have a unique situation coming in mid-season. How do you get your guys mentally just flush offensively what they did or the struggles that they had during the first half of the season and just concentrate on this back half and know that there's just a different outlook going forward because you're obviously a different leader than previously?
Yeah, I think that the change might help that a little bit, you know, and we've obviously gone through that, and now we're one game into the change, right? So I think that helps. But really redirecting, you know, what we're doing and how we're doing some of the things, because there isn't wholesale changes. It's what we're doing and how we're doing it during the week, and keep them focused on that. That will hopefully potentially alleviate some of those struggles that we've had, and focusing on when we have done well, the glimpses that we have done well. Because I'm not up here trying to say we're something we're not. It's just the glimpses. Focus on those and try to get those glimpses to be bigger, like we talked about. So it's really just a constant talking to the guys about focus on this, you know, try to put the blinders on.
Pete, on your left and right.
Hey Rod, just maybe a touch of nostalgia here. You're getting a chance to coach at Memorial Stadium, call offensive plays at Memorial Stadium in the booth. Just thoughts on that to be kind of take that full circle.
Hadn't thought about it till you just asked it, but since you're bringing it up, you know, that Maryland game last year when I was coaching the O-line, that was probably a little bit more of that moment for me personally, where it's like, wow, I'm really, you know, since I played. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, right now there's so much work to do that I haven't even thought about that big picture wise. So,
Mike, last one.
Could you take us into, I mean, Tom kind of talked about it a little on Saturday after the game, but why you thought it was important to rotate the quarterbacks for this week, like what your goal was in sort of having them kind of go back and forth and giving them both work, and then when you kind of did a risk-reward sort of analysis of doing that, did you worry kind of the impact on their psyche, kind of their confidence, particularly for Taven, kind of, I mean, going back and forth for 7 weeks, you know, worry that might impact him moving forward, his development?
okay, so let's deal with the first question here. So, every position on the team, and I get it, quarterback is obviously way more visible, but every position on the team is performance-based review. So, if you're not performing, whether you're a left guard or whether you're a quarterback, there has to be evaluation that's called coaching, and we have to try to put the team in the best spot to win a football game. And the quarterbacks are no different. So that's why we went into the game doing what we were going to do with the plan, because we were trying to get, you know, good performance out of that position. As far as worried about the psyche, yeah, I mean, listen, nobody is immune to that, whether you're a left guard and you're rotating or whether you're a quarterback and you're rotating. Obviously, we all know the differences in those two positions, but the psyche of the young men, we're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, is hard. It's hard on them. There is no question that it's hard on them. It's hard on both of them. So you just mentioned Taven, it's hard on Sorsby too. So I don't minimize that in any way, shape, or form. But also come back to the first point, is that it is our job as coaches to, you know, get these guys to perform so that we have the best opportunity to win a game, and that's coaching. So if part of that coaching is rotating those guys to see if we can get somebody to consistently play good, then that's what we do.
When you took over, was that something immediately you kind of thought you needed to do?
No, I mean, I think that there are a lot of discussions, you know, I follow Coach Allen's lead on that, and I'm certainly a part of those discussions, and we go back and forth on that, but I think we came to that solution. That wasn't something I came into and said, hey, you know, no.
I'm just curious. How,
No, I mean, I think that came through discussion on evaluating where we are, where we need to go, how we need to get the performance better.
All right, thanks, Rob. Thank you.
Hey, thanks guys.